the shadow of betrayal, love, revenge, and mystery. I shuddered and woke up. In fact, I didn't even remember falling asleep. What time is it now? Glancing at the clock on the mantelpiece, I saw that it was 10:23. Since it was dark outside, the curtains were open, allowing me to see the street, and I would have to assume that meant 10:23 p.m., unless, of course, we were in the middle of a total solar eclipse. And anyway, what was I doing on the living room couch? And why was I wearing that dress? Maybe I passed out on the couch after coming home drunk. It was weird for a number of reasons. For one, I didn't have the slightest symptoms of a hangover. I was also pretty sure I hadn't been drinking the previous night. Also, if I had gone somewhere where I might have had too much alcohol, I sure as hell wouldn't have worn that conservative dress. Nothing here made any sense. In fact, thinking back to last night, I remembered exactly what I was doing, and it wasn't on the couch. I definitely wasn't dressed, and I was almost completely sober. Well, I'd had a couple glasses of wine a little earlier, but nothing that would even come close to memory loss. It was then that the sounds I was hearing started to get my attention. It was moans, as well as the creaking of the bed springs. It sounded like two people having sex. That got my attention. If someone was having sex in this house, I would definitely have to participate. After all, it was just me and my husband Mike who lived there. That asshole, I muttered to myself. He better not be making love to some cheater in my bed. With those words, I got up and walked up the stairs to come face to face with whoever was having sex in my house. I couldn't truly believe that Mike would cheat on me, but the sounds I heard were definitely leading in that direction. If he was cheating on me, I would rip his balls off. The door to the bedroom was wide open. I stepped through the door and stopped in utter shock. There, on the bed, lay my husband. He was completely naked. What was even more shocking was the woman next to him. Oh my God, Mike! I gotta tell you, Lisa, you're much more active than Sheila. I want to give you another pat on your ass, Mike muttered. That cut through my amazement. I walked to the edge of the bed to stop them from continuing. I wasn't going to put up with this. I was going to kick him out of my house and divorce his cheating ass. You stupid asshole! How dare you make love to that cheating asshole on my bed? I screamed at him. They didn't even notice my presence. Instead of the shocked reaction of being caught like I expected, they didn't even get off rhythm. Why, Mike! Answer me! Don't you dare ignore your wife after I caught you red-handed! Once again, the couple completely ignored me. The most important thing was to get back at that cheating woman who made love to my husband right in front of me. Don't you dare ignore me, asshole! I caught you cheating on me, and I'm going to throw your cheating ass out and take everything you have. I tried again. As before, there was no response from the duo. They can't hear you, came a very familiar voice from the window. Turning toward the voice, I saw Jerry, Lisa's husband, sitting in a chair, watching. He had a devastated look on his face as he watched his wife enthusiastically make love to my husband. Given the circumstances, it was a little strange to see him sitting there dressed in a very nice and expensive tailored suit. I recognized it as one of his better suits that he wore to some of the more prestigious events we attended with our respective spouses. I should probably mention here that Jerry was my boss at work. Those functions I just mentioned were work functions. They were holiday parties and awards banquets that we attended with our spouses. Many of them were formal and semi-formal events that we had to attend. I enjoyed these functions. They usually included an open bar and dancing as well. Jerry, what are you doing here? You can't be here when Mike is home, I whispered loudly to him, foolishly thinking that a low whisper would prevent my husband and his wife from hearing what I said in the closed bedroom when the four of us were only a few feet apart. I do the same thing you do, he replied in a normal, albeit sad tone. I watch my wife make love to your husband. Why? I asked. How can you just sit back and do nothing when our spouses are cheating on us? There's not much we can do about it, he shrugged. Oh, yeah? Look at this. I challenged when I was done to blow her head off with a mighty vicious punch. Do your best, was his only response. Directing all my rage at catching this cheating woman with my husband, I pulled back and struck. My fist was tightly clenched, and my aim was fixed. The side of her face would never be the same again after I touched her jaw. Using every ounce of strength, this punch was calculated to knock her out. The force I put into it came from my feet, traveled up my taut legs, increased with the turn of my hips, focused on tensing my abdominal muscles, increased with the turn of my shoulder, then moved forward as my arm extended. I almost felt a satisfying crunch when my fist made contact with her jaw. Almost. Instead of the satisfying impact of my fist breaking her jaw, the impossible happened. I ended up lying flat on the bed as the momentum of my punch pulled me forward. Instead of making satisfying contact with her jaw with my fist, my hand just kept moving forward unimpeded. It was like a holographic image as my fist just went through her head. I lost my balance and fell through. "Why?" I shrieked in surprise. Looking back, I saw that I was actually lying on my stomach on the bed. Infuriated, I quickly jumped up from the bed. My mind began to go completely insane. "What was that?" I shrieked. "What's the last thing you remember before you woke up?" Jerry asked. I thought it was a weirdly incoherent question. I just turned and looked at him. "Think about this. What was the last thing you remember before you woke up?" "Look, Jerry, I think we've got bigger things to worry about here than this." "No, that's exactly what we should be worried about. Now answer the question." "Fine, if that's where your twisted little mind wants to go. We were in the guest bedroom and we made love until we passed out. We were here at my house since Mike was out of town for a few days." "Okay, what's next?" I thought about it for a while. What happened? We were lying on the bed in the guest bedroom. We used this room because I didn't want to sleep on wet sheets, and I didn't want to change the linens before bed. I could wash and change the linens in the guest bedroom in the morning. I remembered that I was just about to experience pleasure. It was then that I felt a sharp pain in the back of my neck. The next thing I knew, I woke up on the damn couch. A realization began to come to me. A sharp pain in the back of my neck. They can't hear me when I scream directly into their ears. I actually walked right through them. "Yep, now you're starting to realize it," Jerry sadly confirmed. "But I saw Lisa stick a knife in the back of your head. But before I could do anything, Mark stuck another knife in my ear." "We're dead." "Yes." "But how?" "I don't know. I woke up in the guest bedroom about half an hour before you woke up. Yeah, I also tried to yell at them and physically separate them. I even went back to the spare bedroom to try to get my phone to record them for our divorce. That's when I saw our bodies lying on the bed." "Well, at least they'll go to jail for a long time for killing us," I said. "Well, I think satisfaction is probably not quite the right word, given the circumstances." Just at that moment, Mark and Lisa started talking. They had obviously finished this round and were lying next to each other. "So, Mark, where are we going to dispose of the bodies?" "I'm going to drive them about 15 miles and throw them in the water chained to cinder blocks. No one will ever find them that deep, and the scavengers at the bottom of the ocean will dispose of them quickly. While I'm gone, you can write letters from them about how they raided the accounts and escaped to another country together so we can show them to the police." "Yeah? It's a good thing I've gotten so good at forging their handwriting in the last 6 months since we found out about their affair. How about we get rid of the bedding? It's all bloody." "No problem. I'll just wrap them in it and throw them overboard with it. Cloth won't last long on the ocean floor. You know where the clean linens are. Can you make the bed while I'm gone?" "Of course, darling. Don't worry about it." "I will. Oh, and I'll use that laptop I left at McDonald's to transfer the money a couple more times in case some investigator decides to stop by, trying to find where they hid it. Now, since we're going to have to lay low for a while, let's have one more drink before we get to work." "Okay. Yeah. I've been having an affair with my boss for the last 3 years. We thought we hid it pretty well, but apparently our spouses found out about 6 months ago. They used those 6 months to make it look like Jerry and I had cleaned out the bank accounts and fled to South America together. Jerry and I watched helplessly as the police investigated but found no evidence of foul play. With no other evidence, they eventually concluded that we had indeed escaped and were living somewhere else in another country. 2 years later. Screw Jerry. Will you shut up? I'm sick of watching my wife make love to your husband. Yeah, like I'm not sick of it? Besides, she's not your wife anymore and he's not my husband. Don't you remember they divorced us a year ago because they got dumped? God, I can't believe I left Lisa for some second-rate sex with you. Just like you, asshole. Stupid. If you weren't already dead, I'd kill you myself. Asshole. I wish you could. Maybe then I could get out of this purgatory I'm stuck in with you, watching your ex-wife live the life I should have been living with my husband. On the other hand, I was so tired of 2 years without sex that I would have even had sex with you if we hadn't just walked through each other. You stupid fool! Screamed Jerry, lunging at me. As expected, he went right through me and landed on the floor. You stupid asshole! I thought you learned something after 2 bad years. So this is our existence. This is our punishment for our infidelity. We're stuck here in this house, doomed to watch our ex-spouses live the life we were supposed to live. Instead of being with our loving partners, Jerry and I passionately hate each other. Of course, we blame the other for our predicament. We are ghosts in the house, unable to make a difference. We can't even relieve stress with sex. Think of a guy trying to make love with a cloud of smoke if you're a guy. That's roughly what it looks like. Yeah, Mike and Lisa totally got away with it. After the initial investigation, there wasn't even a hint of suspicion that they might have killed us. They really had planned this whole thing out meticulously. They came together in their grief over their spouses running off together, at least publicly. A couple months later, no one was really surprised when they were seen together in restaurants. No one was surprised when they got married a year after we disappeared. Jerry and I couldn't do anything but watch. We tried to get out of the house. We couldn't. We were locked in here like the most secure prison in the universe. We could go anywhere inside the house we wanted to go, but we couldn't cross the boundary of the outer walls. Even though the door was wide open, there seemed to be a force field that prevented us from crossing the threshold. Worse, there seemed to be an unstoppable pull to where Mark and Lisa were in the house. Of course, that meant we had ringside seats to each of their lovemaking sessions. After 2 years, I really wanted to be sent to real hell. Seriously, it couldn't get any worse than that. Ah! Looks like Tiffany's awake and hungry, baby. Yeah. Honey, would you, I got this. Thank you, honey. My morning sickness is making me a little weak and tired. After all, it's your fault for knocking me up again so soon. Lisa chuckled. Yeah, as if sticking around here watching them make love to each other like rabbits wasn't bad enough. Now they're having the babies I was supposed to have with Mark. I have no idea how long we, or at least I, will be stuck in this purgatory. I'm afraid it's forever. Worst of all, my only real company is the jerk I foolishly had an affair with. For the life of me, I can't figure out what I ever saw in him that made me cheat on the most wonderful husband in the world. I mean, except for that minor murder issue, he was the most loving and devoted husband a woman could ever dream of. At least that's what Lisa seems to think. Shut up, asshole. Seriously, it didn't happen the last 1,000 times you tried to do this, and it's not going to happen now either, I said, turning around to see Jerry Snow trying to seduce me. Dura, he muttered. Asshole, I replied. Oh well, life goes on for some at the end. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you.